Welcome to the ultimate connection guide for Bang & Olufsen Beolab 6000 and Beolab 1 loudspeakers. In this video we're going to cover every single possible option for connecting these amazing speakers to absolutely anything, whether that's a Bang & Olufsen product or any other brand of TVs, audio systems and AV receivers. Please come and join me. If you don't know me, I'm Steve from Sounds Heavenly. For the last 30 years, my hobby has been helping people to connect their Bang & Olufsen speakers. And for the last 15 of those years, it's been my full-time job. If you don't want to follow through with the whole of the video, or if you're feeling a little bit impatient or unsure, don't worry. Please just go to soundsheavenly.com, click on the Contact Us page and ask me absolutely anything about connecting speakers and I'll be happy to help. If you've got a little more time to spare, then please settle back and we're going to cover at a fairly fast pace every single possible connection option. So if I miss anything, please let me know, but I'm going to do this in one take from memory. So everything that applies to the Beolab 6000 speakers here also is the case for their larger Beolab 1 stablemates. A quick thank you is due as well to Lee at Beolab.
Hi, I'm Lee from Beolab.
Lee has kindly loaned me the speakers that you see here for a few days for the video. I'll be posting them back to him, so I've not been paid for this, but if you're looking to buy Beolab speakers, I'd strongly suggest check out Lee's website at beobuyer.co.uk. So, onto the connections. Whatever we do at any point in this video, one thing always applies, and that is that these are powered speakers, so they will always require a mains power cable. There is no way to use them without that, and I carry the cables with British, European, American and Australian wall plug options, so we can always get these speakers connected to power. The simplest option here is if you have a Bang & Olufsen TV or music system from around the same era, the 1990s to early 2000s up to about 2012, when Bang & Olufsen's unique Powerlink cables were in use. Now these have an 8-pin plug at either end, and you can use either the thicker cable known as Mark II or the thinner cable known as Mark III with these speakers. You can combine those cables in any combination, there's no problem at all. If you find you've got the older 5-pin cables, they probably predate the speakers, may even have been homemade or unsuitable, so don't go there. Replace them with, I'd suggest, the thinner and less expensive Mark III cables, because you still get full sound quality with either option, but they cost a little bit less. If you've got these cables in place already and you're upgrading your TV or music system to a newer Bang & Olufsen product, so 2013 onwards, all you need is this little adapter. I'll put links to everything in the video description so that you can go straight to them, and basically this uses the newer RJ45 shielded connection that Bang & Olufsen have used, and it goes to a Powerlink socket so that your existing cables can plug straight in. So if you upgrade to the latest Beosound Core music streamer or Beovision Harmony or Eclipse televisions, then you can keep the existing cables, just add an adapter to each one and plug straight in. If however you don't have the cables in place, you've got Beolab 1s or 6000s and a new B&O product, then this all-in-one cable has the new RJ45 connector for the new B&O system and the old Powerlink connector for the speakers. Again, links on the website to everything that we talk about will be down in the description of the video. And I've also put timing links in there as well, so if you want to skip back and forth to different parts of the video, there'll be links to let you do that. So, what if you want to use the speakers with a different brand of amplifier, AV receiver, cinema system or television? Yep, no problem. The simplest option is if your system has a headphone socket, and then this cable plugs directly from there into two speakers. Now you'll see here that we're not using the Powerlink connectors on the speakers. This is really significant, this is worth noting, because these speakers won't function from their Powerlink sockets unless a B&O product is connected. Hidden away next to those two Powerlink sockets is a small RCA phono line socket. Now that's the one that we must use whenever we're connecting to any non-B&O product, whether that's a phone, an iPod, a TV, an amplifier. We will always use that line socket. And what that does is, because the Powerlink connection normally sends a voltage trigger to each speaker to tell it to power on and then tell it to power off, but obviously your phone or iPod or laptop won't do that. So the line circuit includes basically a little sensing circuit that listens out for music, tells the speaker when to switch on, and then after 3 minutes without any sound, it listens and tells the speaker to switch off again automatically. So in this case, one cable connects to two speakers. This example is 5 meters long, so the headphone socket will go into your phone, laptop, Apple Airport Express, Google Chromecast audio, computer, Sony television, Kenwood amplifier, you name it, anything with a headphone socket. And at the other end, the cable splits apart so that each speaker will plug in directly. You don't need a Powerlink cable between the speakers, and the cable splits. So with this 5 meter cable, the speakers could be up to 10 meters apart with the music player in the middle. And if you've got an old amplifier with a larger 6.35mm headphone socket, just drop a note with your order and I'll add a free adapter for you. Nice and straightforward. That covers a good majority of the requests that we get generally for using the speakers with a non-B&O system. However, there are some cases where you won't want to use the headphone socket. For example, on a music system where it's visible at the front of the unit and you don't want it to be seen, or for an AV surround system where the headphone socket will disable all the rest of your surround sound system and you want to keep your other speakers playing. So in those cases, we have some more options. Now, first of all, if you have an audio amplifier, music system, hi-fi separate system, or AV or surround sound receiver with RCA pre-out sockets fitted, it's important to say pre-outs are not tape out or record out sockets. These are volume controlled. So you always need a volume controlled output for the speakers because they don't have their own volume adjustment. So in that case, one of these cables with two RCA plugs at each end will allow you to connect two speakers to the RCA pre-outs of your music system or AV system, and again it will split apart to connect to two speakers. So there's a good choice of lengths of the cable on the website, and here again this 5 meter cable connects two speakers and each speaker can be up to 5 meters apart in any direction from the system. But what if you don't want to use the headphone socket and you don't have pre-out sockets? You've only got red and black speaker terminals on your amplifier. Yep, we can do that. This little converter box is called an attenuated converter. One of these connects two speakers, and basically the 4 wires on here, it comes with full instructions. These connect to the red and black speaker terminals on your amplifier or receiver, and it then upgrades that amplifier to give it pre-out sockets. They're volume controlled from the main amplifier volume dial or remote, and that same cable that we just mentioned with the 2 RCA plugs at each end connects straight into that and goes out to both speakers. The only oddity that's worth mentioning here that doesn't fit into these general situations is if you have a modern television that doesn't have a headphone socket fitted. And it's becoming, unfortunately, increasingly common. Often an optical socket is the only audio output that's fitted to new TVs. But don't worry, we can work with that. First, a quick note of caution: if you see optical to audio converters online, please don't use those with Beolab speakers. They don't have a volume control. The optical output of the TV is at fixed volume, so if you try to connect that way, the speakers will be fixed at full volume and you're likely to damage them within a few seconds. Here's how to connect them safely. There are three options. The first one is Bang & Olufsen's official option here, and that's to use either their Beosound Core music streamer or their B&O Connection Hub, which is recently discontinued but often still available. And these have RJ45 Powerlink sockets fitted so that you can then connect out to the speakers. What you would do is run an RJ45 to Powerlink cable from the hub or core to the first speaker, and then a regular Powerlink cable between the two speakers. You've now got an optical input on the hub or the core that is volume controlled, and you've got a Powerlink output that you can connect the speakers to. The second option is to use a non-B&O music streamer that has an optical input and a volume control, and the one I suggest for this is Yamaha's WXC50. So that allows you to control the volume of that optical connection via the Yamaha app, and it has RCA pre-out sockets, so we're connecting to the line input of the speakers using this twin RCA to twin RCA cable. Set the speakers to line mode and they'll trigger automatically when they hear music. And the final option to consider is if you're looking for a larger setup with multiple pairs of speakers, possibly a subwoofer as well, and that's where you'd add an AV receiver for surround sound. I would recommend looking for one that has RCA pre-out sockets fitted. Let me know if you via the website if you want me to suggest suitable models to consider. And in that case, all you need is this twin RCA to twin RCA cable, which is surprisingly difficult for the camera to focus on. I don't know why. And one of those connects two speakers. Now the same options can also be used if you're connecting to a classic Bang & Olufsen system, something from before 1990 without Powerlink sockets. Generally, the easiest option is to use the headphone output of the system. You'll normally need that optional 6.35mm headphone adapter. Set the speakers to line mode and connect to their line inputs. However, you can also use the attenuated converter that we mentioned before. Add a couple of the special 2-pin DIN speaker plugs that Bang & Olufsen used on their classic systems, and then connect into the line input of the speakers with the very difficult to focus on RCA cable. So please, as I mentioned earlier, get in touch at any time at soundsheavenly.com using the contact page if you've got any questions. I'm conscious we've raced through all the options here, there are so many, but please don't worry. The aim of the video really is to give you a starting point and some encouragement that whatever you want to do with your Bang & Olufsen Beolab 6000 or Beolab 1 speakers, it can be done. I'll be happy to help. Thank you very much for watching, and if you have any questions at all, please ask.